Greetings to all fans of good movies. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 2015 science fiction drama Equals.
This has to stop. If it continues, I'll be forced to report you.
The story is set in the near future. A young man named Silas lives in a perfect world, one without poverty, conflict, or disease. This society is built on equality, where every citizen works for the collective good. However, there's one issue that humanity has yet to overcome, a dangerous condition known as S.O.S, or switched-on syndrome. Those afflicted with this syndrome begin to experience emotions, remnants of a past long gone. The infected are deemed a threat to society, and strict laws are in place to detect the disease in its early stages. Silas works as an illustrator in the ideological department. While drawing, he is shown a historical video revealing that a massive conflict recently occurred on Earth, leaving only two habitable regions, the Collective and a western peninsula where a group known as the Defects lives, a primitive people still driven by emotions and base desires. In the Collective, where our character resides, all interpersonal relationships are forbidden. The population is strictly regulated, and reproduction occurs through artificial insemination. One evening, Silas witnesses two young people behaving unusually, and they are swiftly escorted away by security.
Please continue on your way.
Returning home, he has dinner and spends his free time assembling a puzzle before bed, just like the other members of the Collective. The next day, on his way to work, Silas learns the fate of those detained. They were infected and are now in the advanced stages of the disease. The infected have been placed in the Defective Emotional Neuropathy Facility, abbreviated as DEN, for effective treatment. Later at work, a tragic accident occurs. Collective member falls from the roof, landing in front of the entire team. The group remains calm, accustomed to such events, but one woman, Nia, reacts differently, struggling to suppress her emotions. From that moment on, our character becomes increasingly distracted, his focus shifting to Nia as he starts noticing changes within himself, leading to unfamiliar feelings. One evening, Silas has a nightmare in which he's standing on the edge of a roof. Startled awake, he jumps off the couch and hits his head against the wall. The next morning, as a precaution, he visits a medical facility to get tested for the S.O.S. While waiting, he meets a seemingly healthy man who is already in the second stage of the disease. After his blood test, our character receives unsettling news. He has the early stages of S.O.S.
There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to live a normal life. The cure is right around the corner.
At work, Silas tries to hide his condition. He tells his colleagues he was late because he stayed at a cafe and explains his bruise by claiming he got it during a training session the previous day. Strangely, Nia backs up his story, saying she saw him in the martial arts hall. Later that evening, Silas picks up a pair of sunglasses and inhibitor pills from the pharmacy, which are meant to slow the progression of the disease. Also, upon arriving home, he is shown a video explaining what to expect. In the first stage, patients experience decreased concentration, depression, pain, and light sensitivity. As the disease progresses, emotional instability worsens, and by the fourth stage, the person is no longer capable of being a productive member of the Collective. Such individuals are sent to the DEN, where they undergo electrostimulation before being offered a painless way out. Each day, our character finds it harder to suppress his emotions, and thoughts of Nia constantly occupy his mind. During a meeting, Silas's sunglasses fall to the floor, forcing him to confess his condition to his colleagues.
Tested positive for S.O.S.
How long do you have?
It's difficult to say.
Although the disease isn't contagious, his colleagues decide to isolate him, moving his workspace to a corner. Every day after work, possessed man discreetly follows Nia home. One evening, she notices and confronts him. Silas immediately confesses that he has been watching her for some time and suspects that she, too, is infected. Nia denies this and warns him to stop following her, or she'll report him to security. In the Collective, they both pretend nothing has happened, yet Nia begins secretly observing Silas as well. This continues until one night, Nia stays late at work. She goes to the restroom, leaving her cubicle door ajar. Silas follows her inside, and for the first time, they touch, revealing how deeply their emotions have taken hold. In their conversation, Nia confesses she's been sick for over a year, but didn't seek treatment, knowing it would be futile. Eventually, all infected are sent to the rehabilitation center, a death sentence. From that moment on, they stay late at work every day, enjoying their time alone. Their moods improve, and the disease seems less threatening. One evening, their department head returns to the office and notices Nia's module still active. Silas steps out to take the blame, diverting any suspicion away from Girl.
Silas, have you thought about killing yourself?
No, that's not until stage 3.
Next evening, our character doesn't visit Nia. Instead, he meets her on the street on his way home. He tells her that continuing to see each other is too dangerous. They need to stop meeting and wait for a complete cure. To make it easier for both of them, Silas decides to transfer to a different job so they won't see each other anymore. This decision is difficult for both of them. Nia struggles to contain her emotions, often crying when alone, and her productivity in the collective noticeably declines. Silas, too, suffers from the separation. He transfers to solitary work in a greenhouse to minimize contact with people. One day, while waiting in line at the pharmacy, Silas runs into his acquaintance. During their conversation, he shares his story and the emotions he's currently experiencing. Jonas explains that what he's feeling is love, and tells him about a secret support group where infected individuals can openly talk about their emotions. Following his friend's advice, Silas starts attending these secret meetings, finding some relief. One evening at home, our character hears a gentle knock on the door. Nia is standing on the doorstep. In tears, she throws herself into his arms, and they spend their first night together. Lovers vow never to part again. They go about their usual tasks in the collective, but in the evenings, they spend time together. This continues until the day scientists announce the discovery of an effective treatment, a piece of news that quickly spreads throughout the collective.
Mass production of the drug is already underway. Individuals diagnosed with S.O.S. need not suffer another day.
After reuniting, the couple decides to refuse treatment. They later attend a secret meeting where they seek help from the group to escape to the wild peninsula. Jonas, who once worked as a border guard, still has a trusted friend in that area who can help them cross into the wildlands unnoticed. The train to the border leaves on the weekend, so they need to hold out for just 3 more days. During this time, Nia receives a summons for artificial insemination. With this status, she won't be able to board the train, so she has no choice but to go to the hospital. Silas thinks this won't interfere with their plan, as the hospital will likely detect her S.O.S. and simply require her to get vaccinated. The next day, Girl goes to the hospital for a blood test, while Silas waits for her outside.
I have the bug, don't I?
Yeah, you're pregnant.
When she emerges, she's accompanied by security, who escort her to the den. Our character watches this from a distance. There's a woman named Bess working in the facility who's part of the secret society, so Silas turns to his friend for help once again. Bess agrees to assist. Recently, a young patient at the clinic committed suicide, allowing the group to switch identities and free Nia. Unfortunately, a member of the secret society betrays them, informing the authorities. Silas learns about this from the news and rushes to the center to find out what happened to his beloved. The guard delivers devastating news. According to their report, Nia is listed as deceased. Overcome with grief, our character heads to the roof and stands on the edge, his nightmare seemingly becoming reality. But at the last moment, he steps back. Meanwhile, Nia is desperately searching for her boyfriend, unable to find him anywhere. She goes to his apartment, hoping to wait for him there. Later that evening, Silas arrives, looking disoriented and behaving strangely. The patch on his neck reveals the cause of his change.
Why?
I thought you were gone.
In their ensuing conversation, Nia reveals that she is pregnant and then confesses her love to the guy. An emotional scene unfolds where our characters promise to remember each other and stay together no matter what. The next day, Silas is completely devoid of emotion. He remembers that he once loved Nia, but now he feels nothing for her. Nevertheless, he agrees to the escape, since they had planned it earlier. To avoid suspicion, they arrive at the station separately. On the train, Nia reminisces about all the happy moments she shared with her beloved. Silas sits next to her, and despite the effects of the treatment, he takes her hand. In that moment, they find a small glimmer of hope for a happy future. Thanks to everyone who watched to the end. Please leave your thoughts about the film in the comments below.